Słyszymy jeszcze raz! Amen! Amen! Chrystus reigns! And welcome back for another Bible study, everybody. Adrian, you're excited, man? It's not too often we have the big three in here for a Bible study. We got a Catholic, we got a High Church Protestant, we got Eastern Orthodox. This is about to be a good Bible study. All right. Let's see here. Brother, would you like to get us started off with 6?
No problem, man. The wicked of humans, chapter 6, Genesis 6. When people began to multiply on the face of the ground, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that they were fair, and they took wives for themselves of all they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in their morals in morals forever, for they are flesh. Their days shall be 120 years. The Napoleons were on earth in those days and also afterward. When the sons of God went in the when the son of God went into the daughters of humans, who bore children to them. These were the heroes that were of old, warriors of Do I continue reading or? Yeah. The Lord saw that the wickedness of humans was great in the earth, and that every inclination of their thoughts of their hearts were only evil continually. The Lord was sorry that he had made humans on earth, and it grieved him to his heart. So the Lord said, I will blot out from earth the humans I have created, people together with animals, creeping things, and birds of the air. For I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the sight of the Lord. Noah pleases God. These are the descendants of Noah. Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his generation. Noah walked with God, and Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, however you pronounce it. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight. The earth was filled with violence. And God saw the earth was corrupt for all flesh, and had corrupted its way upon the earth. God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of their flesh, for earth is filled with violence because of them. Now I am going to destroy them along with earth. Make yourself an ark of cypress wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover inside and out with pitch. This is how you are going to make it. The length of the ark is 300 cubits, with its width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. Make a roof for the ark and finish it to a cubit above. Put the door of the ark inside. Make it with lower, second, and third decks. For my part, I am going to bring flood of waters on earth to destroy under heaven all flesh in which is breath of life. Everything that is on earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall come into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, your son's wife with you, and of every living thing of flesh you shall bring 2 of every kind in the ark, to keep them alive with you. There shall be male and female. Of the birds according to their kinds, and of all animals according to their kinds.
Brother in Christ, let me pause you for 1 second.
Yeah.
You're saying male and female?
That's correct.
Oh, so for those who, for some reason, think there are more than 2 genders, why?
The mentally.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Continue, brother. I just had to point that out.
That's okay, 100%. I picked it up as well, but I didn't want to stop. But what was it up to? Of all birds according to their kind, of all animals according to their kind, of every creeping thing of the ground according to its kind, 2 of every kind of shall come to you, to keep them alive. Also take with you every kind of food that is eaten, and store up, and they shall serve as food for you and for them. Noah did this; he did all that God commanded him.
And I also want to add in a few points a bit here and there. It says in verse 19, and of every living thing of all flesh you shall bring two of every kind. Every kind doesn't mean every species, because there is 7.7 million species. And if you think that if you think that evolution is anti-god, yeah, you're wrong. Because today I see so many different types of insects which I wouldn't have seen 10 years ago. So God works with science is basically the understanding of God's creation. That's what we know of it. And God works out in the bigger scope of things.
I mean, let's be honest here for a second. We are as a overall
Yeah.
humans,
Yeah.
we are not exactly the greatest. You know what I mean? Like morally speaking.
Hmm.
And that's why we need, in the end, that's why we need God, not just for morality, but in the end, we're not worthy of God. We're not worthy of, realistically speaking, we're only worthy because of Him. You see what I'm getting at, guys?
Um. Sorry. Finish.
I was just going to say, and yet we still, it's not even, keep in mind, this is still in the beginning of creation. It's
Yeah.
still Genesis chapter 6. We've let Him down that bad.
Exactly. I just want to make a comment on what you said. I always say atheists say, "Oh, I don't need God to have morals or to do what's good or bad. I can do that with my own heart." And I always say, "How can you do that?" Because I also tell them, if you're thinking you can do bad, you can always do good as well. So you obviously have that cautious mind that like to do those acts, those sins. And how would you guys reply to that with the atheist that said, "I don't need to believe in God and follow His commandments to have morals"?
Okay, so I would then have to point out a couple of things.
Yeah,
So if you don't go to a God for your morality, okay, then your morality essentially is subjective. Whether you want to admit it or not, and I can say this as I used to be an atheist, morality for an atheist is subjective. It's based around time period and place.
correct.
That's simply it. Because
That's
guess what? 200 years ago in America, slavery was okay. That was just normal 200 years ago in America. Guess what, though? Nowadays, you go to the majority of Americans, at least, and are like, hey, slavery, good or bad? They're going to be like, bad, very, very bad. What? You see what I mean?
yeah.
An atheist morality is subjective. It's not objective. They can argue, oh, well, I just know that this is wrong. Yeah, but what's telling you that this is wrong exactly?
Exactly. That's true. That's a good point.
And like
Oh,
even
myself, but that's not. That's a circular answer.
and like they would give you excuses like law and stuff like that. But if you go to the very roots of law, it comes from the Roman and Greek system. And the Roman and Greek system got it from whom? Moses, basically Mosaic law, and that came from our God. So yeah.
That's good to know, man.
So,
Chapter 7. The Great Flood. Then the Lord said to Noah, go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you alone are righteous before me in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, the male and its mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, the male and its mate, and 7 pairs of the birds of the air also, male and female, to keep their kind alive on the face of all the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground. And Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came on the earth. And Noah with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Now, real quick, I want to stop right here to point something out because it's funny that you got that we were just talking about atheist arguments against Christianity. They seem to really like focusing on the Old Testament, which is very odd to me because
That's true.
that's something I've noticed, but that's besides the point. They actually love to try to bring up how, oh, well, according to the Bible, we're just all products of incest. Because guess what? When, the earth got flooded, there was just Noah, his wife, and their kids. No, we see right here, verse 7, and Noah with his sons and his wife and his sons' wives went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood. Again, another argument that simply if they had here's the thing, they love preaching, inclusivity and acceptance and open-mindedness. They don't even have the open-mindedness to actually open up the Bible and truly read what's being said, because it's clear as day here, guys. I don't know about you guys, but I can see it says, and his sons' wives went into the ark to escape the waters of the flood.
Exactly.
But I'll go ahead and get off that. Verse 8. Of clean animals and of animals that are not clean, and of birds and of everything that creeps on the ground. Two and two, male and female, went into the ark with Noah as God had commanded Noah. And after 7 days, the waters of the flood came on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened. The rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the same day, Noah with his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons entered the ark. They and every wild animal of every kind, and all domestic animals of every kind, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every bird of every kind. They went into the ark with Noah, 2 and 2 of all flesh, in which there was the breath of life. And those that entered, male and female, of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. The flood continued 40 days on the earth, and the waters increased and bore up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters swelled and increased greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the face of the waters. The waters swelled so mightily on the earth that all the high mountains under the whole heaven were covered. The waters swelled above the mountains, covering them 15 cubits deep. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds, domestic animals, wild animals, all swarming creatures that swarm on the earth, and all human beings. Everything on dry land in whose nostrils was the breath of life died. He blotted out every living thing that was on the face of the ground, human beings and animals and creeping things and birds of the air. They were blotted out from the earth. Only Noah was left, and those with him in the ark. And the waters swelled on the earth for 150 days.
Chapter 8. The flood subsides. But God remembered Noah and all the wild animals and all the domestic animals that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind blow over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of the heavens were closed. The rain from the heavens was restrained, and the waters gradually receded from the earth. At the end of 150 days, the waters had abated, and in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to the rest on the mountains of Ararat, which is in Armenia, I believe. The waters continued to abate until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the first day of the month, the top of the mountains appeared. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made, and sent out a raven, and it went to and fro until the waters were dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove from him to see if the waters had subsided from the face of the ground. But the dove found no place to set its foot, and it returned to him to the ark. For the waters were still on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took it, and brought it into the ark with him. he waited another 7 days, and again sent out the dove from the ark. And the dove came back to him in the evening, and there in its beak was a freshly plucked olive leaf. So Noah knew the waters had subsided from the earth. Then he waited another 7 days and sent out the dove, and it did not return to him anymore. In the 601st year, in the first month, on the first day of the month, the waters dried up. Waters were dried up from the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked and saw that the face of the ground was drying. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. Then God said to Noah, "Go out of the ark, and you go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing that is with you of all flesh, birds and animals, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth." So Noah went out with his sons and his wife, and his son's wife, and every animal, every creeping thing, and every bird, everything that moves on the earth, went out of the ark by families. God's promise to Noah. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And when the Lord smelled the pleasing odor, the Lord said in his heart, "I will never again curse the ground because of humans, for the inclination of the human heart is evil from youth. Nor will I ever again destroy every living creature as I have done, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease."
The covenant with Noah, chapter 9. God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth. The fear and dread of you shall rest on every animal of the earth, and on every bird of the air, on everything that creeps on the ground, and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. And just as I gave you the green plants, I gave you everything. Only you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. For your own lifeblood, I will surely require a reckoning. From every animal I will require it, and from every being, each of one for the blood of another, I will require a reckoning for human life." Sorry, boys. What does God mean? I will reckoning for your. Where is it? Verse 4. You shall not eat flesh with its life, that is its blood. What does it mean by that?
It's referring to the Old Testament laws of not consuming blood.
Yeah, so like while an animal is alive and has blood.
Oh, so basically, it has to be cooked. Is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Verse 6. Whoever sheds the blood of a human, by a human shall that person's blood be shed. For in his own image, God has made humans. I just got to read verse 7. Sorry, can you just go down a little bit? Yeah, and you be fruitful and multiply, abound on earth, and have dominion over it. Then God said to Noah and his sons with him, "As for me, I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the domestic animals, and every animal on earth with you, as many as come out of the ark. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of flood." and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I will make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and on the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it as a member of everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on earth. God said to Noah, "This is a sign of the covenant that I will have established between me and all flesh all flesh that is on earth." I'll continue reading. Noah and his sons. I just got a little bit, sorry. Yeah. The sons of Noah went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham had the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was peopled. Noah, a man of the soil, was the first to plant the vineyard. He drank some of the wine and became drunk. He lay uncovered in his tent, and Ham and the father of Canaan saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on them both of their shoulders, and walked backwards and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son has done to him, he said, "Cursed be Canaan, lowest of the slaves shall be to his brothers." He also said, "Blessed by the Lord of my God be Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. And may God make space for Japheth. Let him live in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be slave." After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All of the days were 950 years, and he died.
Chapter 10. Nations descended from Noah. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Children were born to them after the flood. The descendants of Japheth: Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, maybe it's pronounced Javan, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tyrus. The descendants of Gomer: Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarma. I definitely mispronounced that one. The descendants of Javan: Elisha or Elisha, however you're going to pronounce it in that case, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. From these, the coastland people spread. These are the descendants of Japheth, and their lands with their own language, by their families and their nations. The descendants of Ham: Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush: Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Rama, and Sabteka. The descendants of Rama: Sheba and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He was the first on earth to become a mighty warrior. Also, I want to pause real quick. Isn't it kind of funny that, Nimrod was the first on earth to become a mighty warrior, right? But now the word Nimrod is used to describe somebody pretty much of the exact opposite.
Sorry, I just want to comment on that. Isn't Nimrod an Assyrian king or something? Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I believe so. I could be mistaken though. That doesn't sound incorrect to me. But also, I will say I am a goober sometimes, So, I thought that was very interesting though.
I mean, it's not it's not the first time. Even in the last chapter about the rainbow, God's covenant had 7 colors. The rainbow had 7 colors, 7 days. Basically, God's number of perfection is 7,
Of
and
course.
and everything of the devil is to steal. So of course he had to take one away and make it 6 and make it the devil's number, which is why we have pride today.
Amen.
That's true. That's
But back to verse 9. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went into Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah. That is the great city. Egypt became the father of Ludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphthahim, Pathrusim, Casluhim, and from whom the Philistines come, and Caphtorim. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Archites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward, the families of the Canaanites spread abroad, and the territory of the Canaanites extended into Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and in the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, as far as Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham by their families, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother to Japheth, children were born. The descendants of Shem, Elam, Ashur, Arpachshad, I definitely mispronounced that one, Lud, and Aram. And the descendants of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah, and Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber born 2 sons. The name of the one was Peleg. In his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almadad, Sholeth, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, or is it pronounced Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jabab. All these were the descendants of Joktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Safar, the hill country of the east. These were the descendants of Shem by their families, their languages, their lands, and their nations. These are the families of Noah's sons, according to their genealogies, in their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood.
The Tower of Babel. Now the whole earth had one language and the same words. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon the land of Shinar and settled there. Shinar, and settled there. And they said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and fire them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone and bitumen for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we shall be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." They were right about that last part. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which mortals had built. And the Lord said, "Look, they are one people, and they have all one language. And this is only the beginning of what they will do. Nothing that they propose to do will now be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language there, so that they will not understand one another's speech." So the problem here was not that they were going to do great things, but because of pride, because pride had brought Satan down. God saw that whatever they were going to do would make their pride and arrogance go up, which is why God had to intervene.
Well, I mean, beyond that, if you just reread verse 4, Then
Yeah.
they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city and a tower with its top in the heavens, and let us make a name for ourselves."
Yeah.
First off, I don't know who these people thought they were,
Yeah.
but you're not making a name for yourself in heaven, buddy. You're not that important. All
Mhm.
right, unless you become a actual saint, unless you're not that important, buddy, that you're making a name for yourself in heaven, impressing God, bro. You know why? Because guess what? Nothing we do is good enough to impress God, and that's fine. That's
Mhm.
fine. You know why? Because I'm more than okay with not being good enough, because Christ said, "Hey, you know what? I'm taking flesh. I'm going to die on the cross for their sins.
Mhm.
Allow them to be into heaven."
I mean,
So
bro.
when they had that ideology of, "Oh, let's make a name for ourselves," that's beyond prideful. That is 100% egotistical, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As being I'm a Assyrian, bro, and my parents from the generations they've heard stories like how prideful Assyrians were, and this is why God punished Assyrians because they wanted to build a tower to fight God. Look at the mentality they had, the pride. They wanted to build a tower to heaven to fight God, and that's why they God changed the languages, as it says on I think verse 9. Therefore, it was called Babel because of the Lord confused the languages of the earth, and from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all earth. And this is why
Amen.
God I believe is why he cursed us because how prideful they were.
Amen. I can agree there. I can agree there. So sorry about that for me interrupting. I just
Yeah, sorry as well.
Yeah. So verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. Therefore it was called Babel, because the Lord confused the language of all the earth. And from there the Lord scattered them abroad over the face of all the earth. Descendants of Shem. These are the descendants of Shem. When Shem was 100 years old, he became the father of Arpachshad, Arpachshad, Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after the birth of Arpachshad uh, 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arpachshad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. And Arpachshad lived after the birth of Shelah 400 and 430 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. And Shelah lived after the birth of Eber 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg. And Eber lived after the birth of Peleg 400 and 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu. And Peleg lived after the birth of Reu 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he became the father of Serug. And Reu lived after the birth of Serug 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. Uh, and Serug lived after the birth of Nahor 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 209 years, he became, sorry, when Nahor had lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. And Nahor lived after the birth of Terah 119 years and had other sons and daughters. When Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Descendants of Terah. Now, these are the descendants of Terah. Terah was the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran was the father of Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth, in Ur of the Chaldeans. Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarai was barren, she had no child. Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and took his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and they went out together from Ur of the Chaldeans to go into the land of Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran.
Genesis 12. The call of Abram. Now the Lord said to Abram, Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation. I will bless you and make your name great, so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and to the ones who curse you, I will curse them. In all of the families of earth shall be blessed. So
Can I interrupt for a moment?
of course, man.
So verse 3, I will bless those who bless you.
Yeah.
And the ones who curse you, I will curse.
Curse,
And in
yeah.
you and all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So if we remember this verse,
Yeah.
throughout the Old Testament, we'll see that every enemy of Israel gets punished because of this. We'll see it with the Amalekites. We'll see it with everyone else because this is God's promise God has given. And I don't think people can try to find morality or immorality because these people fought with Israel first.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. So you can continue. Sorry for interrupting. Yeah.
That's all right, man. So Abram went as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. Abram took his wife Sarai and his brother's son Lot and all the possessions that they had gathered and the persons who they had acquired in Haran. And they set forth to go to the land of Canaan. When they had come to the land of Canaan, Abraham passed through the land to the place at Shechem, to the oak of Morel. At the time of Canaanites were in the land, then the Lord appeared to Abraham and said, To your offspring I will give this land. So he built there an altar to the Lord, who had appeared to him. From there he moved on to the hill country on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And there he built an altar to the Lord, and invoked the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed on by stages towards Negeb. Abram and Sarah in Egypt. And now there was a famine in the land. So Abram went down to Egypt, reside there as an alien, for the famine was severe in the land. When he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarai, I know well that you are a woman beautiful in appearance, and when the Egyptians see you, they will say, This is his wife. Then they will kill me. They will let you live. Say that you are my sister, so that it may go well with me because of you, and that my life may be spared on your account. When Abram entered Egypt, the Egyptians saw that the woman was very beautiful. When the officials of Pharaoh saw her, they praised her to be Pharaoh. The woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. For her sake, he dealt well with Abram, and he had sheep, oxen, male donkeys, and male donkeys and female slaves, female donkeys and camels. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plague because of Sarai, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, "What is this? What is this that you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say that she is my sister, so that I took her, for my wife? Now then, here is your wife. Take her and be gone." And Pharaoh gave his men orders concerning him, and they set him on their way with his wife and all that he had.
Chapter 13. Abram and Lot separate. So Abram went up to Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the Negeb. Now Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. He journeyed on by stages from the Negeb as far as Bethel to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place where he had made an altar at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, and the land could not support both of them living together, because their possessions were so great that they could not live together. Thus strife arose between the herders of Abram's livestock and the herders of Lot's livestock. At that time, the Canaanites and the Perizzites lived in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, "Let there be no strife between you and me, and between your herders and my herders, for we are kindred. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself from me. If you take the left hand, then I will go to the right, or if you take the right hand, then I will go to the left." Lot looked about him and saw that the plain of the Jordan was well watered everywhere in the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, in the direction of Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself all the plain of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed eastward, and they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled among the cities of the plain and moved his tent as far as Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked, great sinners against the Lord. The Lord said to Abram, after Lot had separated from him, "Raise your eyes now, and look from the place where you are, northward and southward and eastward and westward. For all the land that you see I will give to you and to your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if one can count the dust of the earth, your offspring can be counted. Rise up, walk through the length and the breadth of the land, for I will give it to you." So Abram moved his tent and came and settled by the oaks of Mamre, which are at Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord.
Mark, I want to add something which I saw. So it mentioned in verse 10 that
Yeah,
this was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, right? So
correct.
this showed that someone after those times had written all what was in Genesis. So
Correct.
we believe it was Moses, and we also have like the proper genealogies properly from then to Moses, and from Moses we have all the way to David, and from David we have all the way down to Jesus.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. So even when it comes to the disciples, we have their parents' names and stuff like that. So when I was arguing with a Muslim the other day, he was like, "Your Christian disciples and all, they don't have surnames," and I'm like, "We don't need to have necessarily have surnames, because back then what a surname meant was coming from the father's house off, right?"
I mean, yeah, but if they're gonna make that argument, like, technically speaking, aren't like half of the super early Muslim scholars, isn't it technically speaking that they don't have surnames?
Not only that,
Because,
yeah,
I'm about to say Ibn means son of, so we'll take Ibn Kathir. You see what I mean?
yeah.
Ibn Abbas, Ibn Taymiyyah. Like, maybe I'm crazy here. Maybe I'm mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but does Ibn not mean son of?
Yeah,
Isa.
yeah, it means the son of for example, the son of Asher, the son of Mark,
Exactly.
Ibn, yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
So
like
there.
yeah,
Go ahead.
a surname what we see as doesn't mean anything more than son of the father, right? Yeah. So like in the end, we don't need to have a specific surname like our last name to define us because we come from one father. And at the end of the day, our father is God and we are children of God. So we don't need anything else to define us. Because in the end of the day, if our names are written in the book of life, it will be written as Mark, son of your father's name, most probably, and not.
That's kind of funny because
Yeah.
it'll say Mark, son of Mark. Named after my dad.
Is that a name Mark as well?
Yeah, my dad's named Mark too. It's hilarious.
So yeah, Mark Jr.
Not a junior. So hold on, hear me out. My dad knew that people would try calling me a junior. This man is smart. All right. I'm the second. On my birth certificate, I can show you. It literally has the Roman numeral 2. I'm the second.
Yes, man.
It's like you're almost a king.
Exactly.
Dude, if I have a third, my dad will lose his mind.
Chapter 14, Lot's Captivity and Rescue. In the days of Amraphel of Shinar, king of Arioch, and Elasar, king of Chedorlaomer of Elam, and King Tidal of Goim. These kings made war with the king of Bera of Sodom, King Bersha of Gomorrah, King Shinar of Admah, King Shemeber of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor. All these joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is the Dead Sea. 12 years they had served Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and the kings who were with him came and subdued the Rephaim in Ashtaroth, Karnaim, the Zuzim in Han, the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir, as far as El Paran, on the edge of the wilderness. Then they turned back and came to an En Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and subdued all the country of the Amalekites and also the Amorites who lived in Hazazon Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, the king of Bela, that is Zor, went out, and they joined in battle in the valley of Siddim with the king Kedorlaomer of Elam, king Tidal of Goim, king Amraphel of Shinar, and king Arioch of Elasar. 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of bitumen pits. And as the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some fell into them, and the rest fled to the hill country. So the enemy took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions and went their way. They also took Lot, the son of Abraham's brother, who lived in Sodom, and his goods and departed. Then one who had escaped came and told Abraham, the Hebrew, who was living by the oaks of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and Ener. These were the allies of Abraham. When Abraham heard that his nephew had been taken captive, he led forth his friend men, born in his house, 318 of them, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. He divided his forces against them by night, he and his servants, and routed them and pursued them to Hobah, north of Damascus. Then he brought back all the goods and also brought back his nephew Lot with his goods and the women and the people. Abraham blessed by Melchizedek. After his return from the defeat of Chedorlaomer and the kings who were with him, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh, that is the king's valley. And King Melchizedek of Salem brought out bread and wine. Mark, remember, bread and wine. He was the priest of God Most High. He blessed him and said, "Blessed be Abraham by God Most High, the maker of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hands." And Abraham gave him 1/10 of everything. Then the king of Sodom said to Abraham, "Give me the persons, but take the goods for yourselves." But Abraham said to the king of Sodom, "I have sworn to the Lord Most High, the maker of heaven and earth, that I will not take a thread or a sandal strap or anything that is yours, so that you might not say, I have made Abraham rich. I will take nothing but what the young men have eaten, and the share of the men who went with me, Ener, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their share." So yeah, Mark, I told you earlier about the King Melchizedek, right? Who was another pre-incarnate figure of Christ. Isn't it funny how he brought bread and wine again to give to
How
Abraham?
convenient. How convenient. Man.
What were you guys speaking about this king?
It was the Genesis video.
Yeah.
It was the Genesis video because you were asking about I believe it was Enoch.
Yeah. It was Genesis 1-5, yeah.
Yep, it was 1-5. It was our last Bible study that we did.
Oh, okay.
All right. Yeah. See, we that's not a great cough. Sorry, guys. My wife is fighting bronchitis here.
I pray she gets better, man.
We pray.
Thank you. But yeah, no, we were just talking about this last Bible study because Adrian was asking, hey, well, if Enoch was taken up to heaven, you know, he's one of the few people who, you know, didn't die in the Bible. And I was like, yeah, one of the few, one of the, yeah. And it was like, oh, wait, Melchizedek. And I'm like, yeah, Melchizedek. And then we started talking more about that. But that's how we got that. That's why we're talking about it now.
Because we consider him to be like a pre-incarnate figure of Christ. Basically, God in the flesh before he became flesh. Or his sacrifice. Yeah.
Nice.
We'll see something about that later again in Genesis 32 as well. But yeah, another story for another day. That's Genesis 6-14 for you. Thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Yeah.
And God bless, guys. Stay safe.
You too, brother. Take care. See you, boys. God bless you.